Arcadian Vanguard presents the Wrestling News in your daily wrestling newscast for Sunday, March 5th, 2023. Good morning, I'm Mike Sempervive. We begin with a notable WWE House Show held last night at the Coca-Cola Coliseum in Toronto. The recently changed main event for the show was the first rematch between undisputed WWE Universal Champion Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn, in which Reigns defeated Zayn to retain the title. The match followed Reigns and Zayn's first match last month at Elimination Chamber in Montreal and marked Reigns' first non-televised title defense since last September. Including both televised and non-televised matches, it was Reigns' 48th successful title defense since first becoming Universal Champion on August 30th, 2020. In other results from Toronto, Braun Strowman, Ricochet, and Drew McIntyre defeated Imperium. Kevin Owens defeated LA Knight in a street fight. Charlotte Flair retained the SmackDown Women's title against Shayna Baszler, and Rhea Ripley went over Raquel Rodriguez. In ratings news, last Friday night's episode of SmackDown held steady, attracting 2.299 million viewers to Fox, according to overnight numbers from Spoiler TV. That's in line with the previous week's 2.303 million viewers. The rating in the key 18 to 49-year-old demographic was reported to be 0.5, down from the previous week's 0.6. Full ratings figures are expected later this week. With some injury news, here's the Wrestling News' Lou Kipilman.
Ronda Rousey is out of action, with the Pro Wrestling Torch reporting that she has aggravated a previous arm injury. Rousey was originally booked to team with Shayna Baszler against Tegan Nox and Natalya on last Friday's SmackDown, but was pulled from the match, which was turned into a Nox-Baszler singles match instead. Rousey was seen in a backstage vignette last Friday night selling injuries from an unseen attack, which was reportedly done to explain her real injury. It is not known how much time she may miss, although she is still expected to be ready to join Baszler in challenging for the WWE Women's Tag Team title at WrestleMania. Rousey last wrestled on a Rockford, Illinois house show on February 26th. For the Wrestling News, I'm Lou Kipilman.
Taking a look at Mexico, the National Wrestling Alliance joined forces with AAA on Saturday night for The World is a Vampire, a combined wrestling show and concert at the Foro Sol in Mexico City. Unfortunately, the main event was called to a halt only minutes in, as Daga suffered a knee injury during his match against NWA World Heavyweight Champion Tyrus. Medical staff attended to Daga, with TV Azteca later confirming the injury. More information on the severity of it is expected today. The show marked the first co-promoted affair between the NWA and AAA and was followed by a concert featuring NWA President Billy Corgan's band Smashing Pumpkins, although that portion of the proceedings was not streamed. With some AEW creative news, here's the Wrestling News' Lou Kipilman.
Rebel has been split off from Britt Baker and Women's Champion Jamie Hayter, and will no longer be seen with them in storyline, according to a report from the Wrestling Observer newsletter. The reported reason is that Baker and Hayter are now being positioned as babyfaces, and it was felt that the Rebel character no longer fit the act. Rebel had been by Baker's side as her personal assistant and storyline since April 2020. While Rebel was present at AEW's latest weekly TV tapings, she was not used on television, and it is not known how she might be booked going forward. For the Wrestling News, I'm Lou Kipilman.
Turning to Japan, the annual New Japan Cup tournament kicked off today inside Tokyo's Korakuen Hall and streamed via New Japan World. 2 of the tournament's 8 first-round matchups took place on the card, with both Sanada and Tetsuya Naito advancing. Sanada defeated Taichi in the main event of the show, while Naito knocked off El Phantasmo. The rest of the card was made up of tag team matches. The New Japan Cup began in 2005, and this year's field includes 24 men, with 8 of them receiving first-round byes. The tournament final, which was won by Zack Sabre Jr. in 2022, is scheduled for March 21st. New Japan returns to action on Monday, which also serves as its 51st anniversary celebration. In addition to the New Japan Cup continuing, The main event features IWGP World Champion Kazuchika Okada teaming with Hiroshi Tanahashi to challenge for the IWGP World Tag Team title against Hiroki Goto and Yoshihashi. A day before New Japan celebrates its 51st year in existence, the Pro Wrestling 01 promotion held its anniversary show today at Korakuen Hall in Tokyo. Recognizing their 22 years in existence, the company's main event featured Masato Tanaka retaining the 01 World Heavyweight title by defeating Shoki Kitamura in a bout that also served as the 5th anniversary celebration of Kitamura's debut. The penultimate bout saw Yasu Kubota and Hide Kubota retain the NWA Intercontinental Tag Team title over Fuminori Abe and Setsuki Nagao in their second defense. With some news from outside the ring, once again, the Wrestling News' Lou Kipilman.
AEW World Champion MJF will appear on next Thursday's episode of Impractical Jokers, according to an official announcement yesterday on social media. Impractical Jokers airs on TBS and True TV, and is part of the Warner Brothers Discovery slate of original programming, along with AEW Dynamite and Rampage. MJF's appearance was filmed last summer. Also appearing as a guest on the episode will be pop star Kesha. Also, John Cena has been cast in the upcoming Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles animated film Mutant Mayhem, according to an official announcement on Twitter. Cena will voice the mutant rhinoceros Rocksteady, a role previously played by Sheamus in the 2016 Ninja Turtles movie Out of the Shadows. Cena joins a cast that also included Seth Rogen, Jackie Chan, Post Malone, Hannibal Buress, Maya Rudolph, Ice Cube, Paul Rudd, and Giancarlo Esposito. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem is scheduled for release on August 4th. For the Wrestling News, I'm Lou Kipilman.
Turning to the independent scene, Game Changer Wrestling ran the Showboat Hotel in Atlantic City, New Jersey on Saturday night for their Holy Smoke show, which streamed live on Fight Plus. In the main event, John Wayne Murdoch defeated Drew Parker. In title matches, Jordan Oliver defended the Jersey Championship Wrestling title over New Japan Pro Wrestling's Alex Coughlin. Rina Yamashita made the 5th defense of the GCW Ultraviolent title, upending Casey Kirk. GCW Tag Team Champions Los Macizos, Ciclope and Miedo Extremo made their 11th successful defense, knocking off the SATs Joel Maximo and Jose Maximo, and Joey Janela retained the GCW Extreme title by defeating Venny. Other results saw Maki Ito defeat Lufisto, Blake Christian defeated Akira, Hijo del Vikingo defeated Alex Zane, and Effie topped Slade. The company runs the Showboat again on Sunday for their show titled Ransom. Also last night, West Coast Pro Wrestling ran their West Coast Best Coast show, which emanated from the United Irish Cultural Center in San Francisco. Streamed on IWTV, the main event of the show saw Titus Alexander hold on to the West Coast Pro Heavyweight title by defeating Nick Wayne in a TLC match. The company crowned a new titleist as Masha Slamovich defeated Sandra Moon in the finals of a tournament to become the first ever West Coast Pro Women's Champion. In other results of note, Speedball Mike Bailey defeated Timothy Thatcher, Vinny Massaro defeated Ricky Shane Page in a no DQ match, and the West Coast Wrecking Crew defeated the Miracle Generation. And on Saturday, Bobby Flacco won the annual Scenic City Rumble, which took place at East Hamilton Middle School in Appleton, Tennessee. While the Rumble served as the show's main event, possibly the most notable match on the card featured a one-on-one between longtime pro wrestling stalwarts Mike Jackson and George South. Serving as the semi-main event, the 73-year-old Jackson stood tall at the end, pinning the 60-year-old South in 10 minutes and 30 seconds. And before we leave you today, we'd like to remind you that however you consume your content, you can find the wrestling news 24 hours a day and 7 days a week across social media. On Twitter, follow us at Wrestling News AV. Our Facebook page is also Wrestling News AV. The Wrestling News can also be found on the Arcadian Vanguard YouTube page. And for those who utilize Amazon Echo devices, just tell Alexa to play the Wrestling News podcast. And remember to make sure you add podcast at the end. Once again, for daily updates, breaking news, and more, follow the Wrestling News across social media. And that's the news for today. If anything happens, we will be here to tell you about it. No clickbait, no paywall, just the wrestling news. The Wrestling News is a division of Arcadian Vanguard, and the Wrestling Newscast is a production of the Arcadian Vanguard Podcast Network.